What up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today it's time for Time Force because we are reviewing the Time Force Ranger pack for Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid, published by Renegade Game Studios and designed by Jonathan Ying. This is an expansion for the Heroes of the Grid game. It's another Ranger pack. You get to become the Time Force Rangers and kick some butt. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to toss it over to Julie, who'll tell you more about the game itself.
First of all, we'd like to thank Renegade Games for sending us this review copy. We much appreciate the support of the channel. We'd like to remind our viewers that our opinion will remain our own. So, it is a cooperative game that is for 2 to 5 or expandable to 6 players for ages 14 and above and plays in about 45 to 90 minutes.
Yeah, I definitely think it always really falls into that 90-minute mark, especially with these Rangers because of the way they play and the teamwork opportunities that you get. So for those of you that do not know the game, I'll explain a little bit what you'll be doing. So you'll be taking on the role of the Time Force Rangers. If you happen to have the Shattered Grid expansion, you will have Time Force Pink. That's where she's located, so you have to pick it up in order to get her. You'll be getting the 5 Time Force Rangers in this pack. That's the Japanese version. The Quantum Ranger, the Yellow Ranger, Green, Blue, and Red. I don't know why, I got stuck on blue there for a second. You'll be moving them around the map, engaging with foot soldiers, eventually engaging with monsters that'll show up on the board, also then engaging with Nemesis, because you will potentially have those. So if you don't have Nemesis characters, you'll be fighting other monsters as you work your way up to the boss, and you'll be rolling dice, trying to get successes in order to defeat the cards. That's actually quite a nice roll. You will also be powering up as you defeat enemies and defeat monsters to gain Zords that will give you some nice one-use, every turn, every game round, you'll be able to use the Zords in order to affect the outcome of the battles and even potentially heal your characters and do a lot of other stuff. So, pretty cool. I think you really want to get them. And what do you get once you get all of your Zords, Julie? You
get your Megazord.
Yeah, well, you will see a little bit later because we really focus on getting that Megazord to the table. Makes a big difference. So there you have it. That's what you're going to be doing in the game. So now what is it time for, Julie?
Now it's time to grab our drink.
Grab our fellow Ranger.
And we're going to take it to the table one more time.
One more time. It's Morphin time. Now we take a look at the components for the Time Force Ranger pack for Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. We're going to start with taking a look at the Rangers and their Zords. Then we'll take a look at the Ranger figurines themselves. Then we'll take a look at their deck of cards. Here we've got the Megazord token, which has got the Shadow Winger and the Time Force Megazord on it. It just replaces your current Megazord token. You do get this rule sheet for the Time Force Ranger pack, introduction and list of components. On the back, just some of the rules that you need to learn for the Quantum Power, as well as the Time Force Megazord. So let's take a look at the Rangers. Now I'm going to be trying to just summarize what's on their cards here, not going into too much detail. So Wes Collins, Time Force Red. With Willful Strength, you can reveal a card from your hand and use its attack value instead of the one that the card has. With Lucas Kendall, with Flexibility, once per battle, you can reveal a card from your hand and use the shields on the card that you reveal instead to help out another Ranger. Heavy Force, once per battle, when any Ranger gains energy, you can reduce the amount that they gain by up to 2 to deal 2 damage to any enemy card of your choice. Trip, so once per battle, you can swap out some of the cards in the enemy deck as long as it's not a passive card, and then you'll shuffle the enemy deck so you can get rid of some nasty stuff, which is pretty cool. Then with Eric Myers, you're going to be rolling dice, and you roll 2 dice, you pick one goes on your actual Ranger, that's your Quantum die, and then what you can swap that die out with one that's been rolled so you can get the better of the 2 rolls. Now if you're taking a look at the Zords, with Time Flyer 1, you use this card, exhaust it, and discard an attack card to perform an attack with 4 dice. Time Flyer 2, exhaust this card during battle to gain 1 energy, then any Ranger may swap their hand with their deck, so that's pretty cool. Time Flyer 3, exhaust this card. At the start of the battle, swap positions of any number of foot soldier cards in the combat sequence. Great way to make guard a little bit less effective. Time Flyer 4, exhaust this card during a battle. You may spend up to 2 energy. For each energy spent, deal 2 damage to a different enemy card. Then you got the Quantosaurus Rex, When you exhaust this card during a battle, roll 2 dice. So what it does is it replicates the Quantum Ranger's ability just as a Zord, but after the activation is done, you get rid of the dice that are on the card. You've got the Time Force Megazord. So exhaust this card to place the Megazord token in any location. At the start of each battle in that location, choose a faster card keyword. Rangers ignore that keyword until the end of the battle. It's pretty cool, but I don't find it that cool. You've got the Shadow Winger. Exhaust this card at any time to swap positions of any 2 Rangers in outer locations. That's pretty cool. And that's any Time Force Ranger, so that's a new Zord, not just a Megazord. So we've seen their characters. Here we've got Wes, Time Force Red, Lucas, Time Force Blue. I gotta say, I still really love the fact that all the figurines are colored. Here we've got Katie, Time Force Yellow. Eric with his quantum power. And Trip. Like I mentioned, Jen Scott is Time Force Pink, and she is included in the Shattered Grid expansion. So now we've got their cards. We'll take a look at them. Brazen Strike, 3-die attack. After you resolve this attack, you get to draw a card. Chrono Blaster, 3 damage. You can divide it as you see fit. Chrono Break. This is 3 damage. If this card defeats the target, discard the top card of your deck, then place this card on top of your deck instead of discarding it. Pay it forward, give an energy to another Ranger, and that Ranger may immediately play an attack card, and that you treat that attack card's value as 3 dice, which is pretty cool. Precise Shot, 1 guaranteed damage and 1 die, and you get to ignore the guard keyword. Pretty cool. And then the V1 Blaster, 6-die attack, and any Ranger may discard 1 attack card from their hand with an energy cost of 1 or 0. And this card gains that card ability. So another Chrono Blaster, Chrono's Thrust for a Lucas, 3-die attack. If this attack defeats the target, the next time any Ranger reveals the cards for defense, they get an extra shield. Keep your cool. It's a reaction. Play this card when any Ranger reveals a card for defense. Add 2 shield to that card. If that card gets discarded, you gain an energy. Stylish Strike, 2-die attack. If there are more cards in your hand than in your discard pile, you get to add 1 die. Then switch it up. Any Ranger may shuffle their hand into their deck, then draw any number of cards, and that Ranger may immediately play a card. And then the V2 Blaster, reveal 1 card from your hand. For each shield on that card, add 1 die to this attack. So I'm just going to place these cards down. We'll start again here. So we've got Ambiguous Warning, which is a reaction. Play this card at the start of a battle. Shuffle this card into another Ranger's deck. When this card is revealed, for defense, you gain 1 energy. Brainstorm is a maneuver. Reveal the top card of any Ranger deck. Gain an amount of energy equal to the number of shields on that card. Another Ranger may then immediately play 1 card with an energy cost of 0. Chrono Blaster, Chrono Trigger. So 1 die plus 1 damage. This attack defeats the target. Any Ranger may take the top card from the discard pile and place it on the top or bottom of their deck. The Electro Blaster, 2-die attack. If the target of this attack drains energy, add 2 dice to the attack. The V3 Blaster, 3-die plus 3, and then you may remove any number of dice from this attack before rolling it. For each die removed, any Ranger may take the top card from the discard pile, place it on the bottom of their deck. Just pretty cool. So we got Katie stuff now. All or nothing, gain 3 energy, and another Ranger may immediately play 1 card, remove all energy from the shared pool at the end of the turn. So this is the kind of thing you want to do when you're running out of energy in the shared pool. Chrono Blaster, Chrono Cross, 3-die attack. If the attack defeats an enemy with a guard keyword, you get to deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice. Competitive Strengths. Play this card when another Ranger performs an attack. Roll 3 dice. The attacking Ranger may ignore their roll and use yours instead. That's pretty cool. Ground and Pound. 2-die attack. If the target of this attack has already been resolved, add 1 die to the attack. The V4 Blaster. 4-die attack, gain 1 energy, and you may remove any number of dice from this attack before rolling to increase the amount of energy gained by the same number. And then last but not least, we've got the Focus Strike from the Quantum Ranger. 2-die attack. After rolling, you may convert 1 miss result to a hit, or convert 1 hit result to a double. Pretty cool. Quantum Cut, 2-die attack. Before rolling, add a number of dice to this attack equal to the damage on your quantum die. Then you have to reroll your quantum die. Quantum Defender. After you resolve this attack, deal damage equal to the result of your quantum die to each adjacent enemy target. Pretty cool. Quantum trigger. Get an amount of energy equal to the quantum die result. Reroll your quantum die and you may draw up to 2 cards. You may then immediately play another card, so that's cool. Silver Guardians. Play this card when any ranger suffers damage. Reduce that damage by an amount equal to the damage roll on your quantum die. You may then return 1 card from your discard pile to your hand. Pretty cool. Solo shot, 2 die attack. If you're the only player with a ranger in this location, add 1 die to the attack. So a little bit of that loner aspect, similar to Tommy. So there you have it. We've taken a look at the Time Force Rangers. Hope you enjoyed it. Now keep it right here as we'll be coming back at you with a review of this expansion. So Julie, I'm eager to hear your thoughts on the Time Force Ranger pack for Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. We played lots of teams. We played lots of Rangers solo as well. Well, not really solo, but separate from their main teams. We finally get to bring Jen into her team because she's not included in this box. You do end up with the Quantum Ranger as she was released separately. And you get 5 Rangers. And teams are 5, but there's always a really cool 6th Ranger. So glad we got the whole team now. What did you think about them, Julie?
Well, it's funny because the first time we played it, where we put it on the table, I said, more Power Rangers? There's definitely a lot of content with this game. But the Rangers themselves, arguably it's been a little while since we've played the other ones.
Yes, quite a while actually.
But that being said, these Rangers feel like they work well together. They're a little bit more complex to play, I would say. They're not as straightforward. Not that they're difficult to play, but they take some comboing and you have to work them together. You can't just play them solo. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, I agree. I think that this team works very well together like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers team. One of the differences, though, is I feel like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers teams had the potential to get some bigger hits, some bigger swings, but it could also go badly. And this team really works well as a team together. With Kat Walker, the Yellow Ranger, being able to generate energy and even redo people's dice rolls. She's a great support character, but also has some strong moves to hit as well. You've got Wes. I think it's Wes Collins over there with his Chrono Break, which is just a great, pretty much one-shot card kill on a lot of stuff. And then, just depending on how you're using some of the bigger cards, they work very well together. So I really like that. One of the teams that we didn't like as much is the one from Shattered Grid, and I'm drawing completely a blank. Remembered. The Hyperforce team, because we felt that they felt more like individual Rangers that could hit hard, do a lot of stuff, but didn't work well together. Whereas Time Force, everything feels really cohesive.
I really enjoyed Eric and the quantum the quantum dice that you get to and the impact of the quantum dice, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it was really awesome when I had the double hits on the quantum die. We had a lot of fun. We actually managed to take out 3 cards for the price of the Quantum Defender Blaster, I believe that's what it's called. It was awesome. I like the fact that he's a Silver Guardian, and he does play a little bit like the original Green Ranger, where he can solo in and take care of problems all by himself, and he's built that way. So it's always fun to have a Ranger like that, especially when you get the board filled up and you maybe have one guy that's just hanging out by himself you want to get rid of. So it is pretty cool. I really enjoyed how he played as well.
And I mean, the other thing I would say is the Zords are all created equal. I mean, the red Zord to me is awesome, where you can basically exhaust any attack card and pull out a 4 dice attack instead. Yep. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, the other power that I really enjoyed as well was
the yellow Time Flyer 4, when you can just spend energy to deal up to 4 damage to a card. Came in very useful. The Shadow Winger was surprisingly good, actually. The ability to swap positions on the board can be used very well. If you happen to be using the command center, where powering up is a free action, if you've got someone that's already there, you can bring in another player and get a free power up. It's pretty cool.
I also thought that Jen's ability, the Pink Ranger, to move cards basically came in handy as well.
Now, one thing we're not sure of is her contingency power does state that it can affect foot soldiers, bosses, as well as the monsters. It does not specify Nemesis, but the Nemesis minions I don't even believe were conceived at the time this card came out. So we'll have to check for some errata to see how that actually works. Or it could be that Nemesises are just stronger and she's not as good against them.
Yeah, I mean, there's some cool powers. I mean, there's some I honestly never played. I forget what his name is. Wes's. I never played Wes's power. I don't know if I didn't do that well, but it just didn't seem all that pertinent.
Well, you can get a 3-die attack, basically for a 2-die card. You can use it once per battle, but the thing is you have to have that specific card in hand and have not used it, and you may want to use that card specifically, like earlier on. And I think that's why I didn't find the ability as useful. Like you, I often found myself being in a position that I was like, oh no, I'm just going to use the card and I want to use this power right away. So like your Brazen Strike would have been good to pass those dice on to say something like Jen's Overclock. No, she's not in the game. Sorry, not in this pack, but you get what I'm saying. It would have made that stronger, which is good. But it's always situational as well. And I think neither of us actually used his V5 blaster, his big card. For whatever reason, it wasn't coming out because that would have been the card to have in hand to then share those dice with someone else. But that really rarely happened.
No, I mean, the bottom line, I mean, what I was going to say is, though I really enjoyed the Time Flyer, the red Time Flyer, I didn't really feel like the blue or green Time Flyers were quite as good. I mean,
the green actually came in pretty useful, swapping some of the foot shoulder sequences to move some guard cards away. So it can save some annoying situations, but it's more situational. It's not going to be useful every time.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't really have anything more to add. I felt like with our experience with the game and the strength of these Rangers, we really did away with every villain pretty easily. I mean, there's a couple times that, we were 2 or 3 Rangers in a situation and we used a lot of resources to get it done, but we still, got it through. Whereas in other situations, those cards and other Rangers, it would have just been impossible. Yeah, no, the teamwork brought together. The Quantosaurus Rex was great to have quantum dies that other players can use, which helped out a lot. And we really just worked as a team. And I found that, Katie Walker was really kind of like powering the team forward. She was almost key to having every fight with a boss or nemesis or monster because it just kept the team progressing and moving forward because you never really ran out of energy. At that point, I really liked Lucas's defense, and Trip had some very good, interesting situational cards where he could potentially do a lot of damage, so he had a lot of solid cleanup abilities. All of these Rangers I really like. I'm definitely going to want to play as them again. It'll be a while because we have a lot of other Ranger teams to cover, but this is one of the better expansions that have come out for the game. And one thing we didn't talk about, the Megazord. You can see we got the Megazord on the table. I'm going to pick up this one, the Time Force Megazord. Not a big fan of this one. Now, it came in pretty useful to be able to ignore guard, but when I look at some of the other ones we have, like the Mega Dragon Zord, which could do like 7 damage, like right off the bat, or even more to a whole bunch of cards and just start taking out cards at the start of the battle. There are others that I prefer. Now, we do have the other expansions that came with a whole bunch of different Megazords. Don't know if we're going to get a chance to review all of them, but we'll then talk about some of the newer ones. But so far, I think like some of the older ones are still my favorites. The classic one too, where it just shows up and just damages every card. I like that as well. Mm-hmm. Works well when you can divide damage up with a Blade Blaster or something. Yep.
So on that note, Julie, what is your ranking, your score for the game?
I'm gonna give it a solid 7. It was it's a good expansion. They're fun Rangers to play. I had fun with it.
So I'm going to go higher. I'm going to give it an 8 because I really like this game. And yes, as you can see right here, I like the property, I like the franchise. I like these Rangers, and this is probably one of the best Power Ranger seasons. It's either number 1 or like in the top 3 for everyone. So good show. I've actually seen most of it. The characters are fun, and they work well together. And I like playing Rangers that gel as a team because us working together. We also play as 3 Rangers each, as you can see. And because of that, it just makes the experience a lot more fun to have Rangers that were like, I can combo this together and do a lot of cool stuff. Something that we didn't experience with all the Ranger teams. Now, just so you know what's going to be happening going forward, because we are going to try to catch up on Heroes of the Grid. There's a lot of content that we haven't covered. We will be getting Light and Darkness actually from Renegade games like this one. So you will be seeing Julie and I playing that once we get it. potentially maybe even before the end of the year. Other than that, I'm going to be going through some of the content solo, and then depending on the time that we have, we may get Rangers United back to the table together. We're probably only going to be playing the big box expansions together as I try to catch up on some of the smaller boxes. But expect to see a lot of content coming for Heroes of the Grid in the future as we try to just get some stuff caught up and some boxes off the shelf so that we have room for newer things. And on that note, we're now going to remind you to
like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when we have some new content for you.
and take a look down below in the video description. You'll find links to all our social media feeds: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you'd like to see hundreds of pictures of Julie and I playing Power Rangers.
There are thousands of pictures.
No, hundreds though, because there's been enough games of Heroes of the Grid. There are plenty on those feeds. Also down there's a link to multizone.ca, a great Canadian game store. Click that link and get 10% off your next purchase. So if you're looking to pick up Heroes of the Grid or any of the other stuff coming from Renegade Games, Mission Critical, which is also going to be using the system, the G.I. Joe adaptation, and hopefully one day maybe Transformers version of this. I'd love to have that. I wonder if they could do Transforming Minis. Probably not, but that would be really cool. Make sure to check them out and click the link because you want to save some money. Everything's getting more expensive these days. And then popping up in front of us are going to be links to some of our previously released videos. In front of me will be our most recent release, and in front of Julie is going to take you back to our review on how to play of the original core game, Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. And on that note, we're now going to remind you to...
Well, first we're gonna grab our drinks.
Yeah, well, remind you to grab your drink, or you can grab your drink like us. I got a little confused.
It's okay.
Grab your fellow Ranger.
And we're gonna keep playing games.
Keep playing games. Well, we're definitely going to keep playing this one. We got more content to cover.
I like how you color coordinated your drink with your sweater.
I didn't even realize I was doing that.